What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. This is Randall Branch. Today I'm going to be running you guys through the leg and core workout I had yesterday on Wednesday. And specifically, I want to talk about how I'm filling out my legs. Always been a lagging point. I'm 6'2". For guys and women too who are a little taller, legs and arms tend to be like a little lagging. So I just want to walk you guys through some stuff I'm doing to fill them out. Now, for me personally, I want my legs to complement my upper body. I do not want huge legs. I don't want massive legs. I don't, you know what I'm saying? I just want my legs to complement my upper body, where you can tell I hit legs, they look conditioned, they look athletic, but they're not huge. My thighs are actually pretty big, but they're not massive. So my goal for me personally is just to have legs that complement my body. That doesn't mean that I don't hit them hard. It doesn't mean that I don't hit them frequently, but it just means that when I go in the gym, I know what I want, which is something that we should all know. And that's something we talk about. After we cross off the box of being healthy, we could then choose what we want to do in our fitness journey. What type of activities interest us, what type of look interests us. You know what I'm saying? I believe health should be first and foremost, but then after that, it's okay, do I want to be a bigger guy? Do I want to be a leaner guy? Do I want to be aesthetic? Like, do I want to focus on boxing, on weightlifting, on running, on sprinting? Like, what interests us? You know what I'm saying? So for me, I do a lot of calisthenics. I do running. I ran 10 miles later on this day. I do boxing. I do sprints. You know what I'm saying? I do all that. And obviously I lift weights, which is my favorite passion in fitness. But the goal for me is to be aesthetic. It's not to be massive, and it's to look good and be healthy. So that's my goals. And for me, my legs are just meant to complement my upper body. So that's what I want to show you guys today. So as you guys saw, I started with the abductor machine or adductor. I always get those two confused. I usually start with those two first and then go straight to calves, but some lady was on one of them. So I went and did one first, then went to calves and finished with the next one. So let's talk about these calves, man. Calves for taller people is going to be the biggest muscle for you to fill out. I believe calves are probably a top 3 or top 4 most aesthetic body part on the body. I really do. I didn't realize how important they were to really fill out your frame, but they are really important. So for me, what I like to do is schedule calves at the beginning and at the end of my workout. You can kind of play around with it, but personally, I like to do high volume calves. I like to hit them fresh right before I do my squats or my RDLs or my stiff leg deadlift, whatever my compound movement is for that day. And I also like to do a lighter burnout, like 2 or 3 sets of that, usually seated at the end of my workout too, right before I do core, because I do core on my leg days. So as you guys can see, I need to work on my form a little bit. I do have big feet. I wear a size 14, so my feet on these platforms are, you know what I'm saying, they're not the best, but I work with what I got. And as you guys can see, man, I'm working on taking it through a full range of motion, and I fill at the end and then I do some partial reps. So calves are extremely important, guys. This is the abductor, whichever the other one is. But calves are extremely important, and for taller people, it's going to give you that better look, that more aesthetic look. Pause. I had to hit y'all with a pause, bro. Like, I'm not against these machines. Obviously, I train them, but just having the camera right in front of me like that and looking into the camera, I was a little uncomfortable, so I just had to throw out a pause. Naturally, too. So, that's just what it was. But yeah, I want to talk a little bit more about calves. Calves are extremely important, guys. Literally, if I could get my calves up about an inch, maybe an inch and a half, my legs would look way more aesthetic than they do right now. I don't believe my legs are bad, and I'm gonna show you guys a video or a picture I took at the end of this workout of me hitting legs, but they would look so much better if my calves are bigger. I'm not really talking too much about sets and reps and all that stuff. I could do that later. Right now, I'm just running you guys through the order in which I'm training, specifically for my goals. So after I did the abductor and adductor, I told you guys I start with calves, and then I'll get straight into, this is a posterior focused leg day, so I'll get straight into my stiff leg. Well, I think today I did RDOs, right? So it would be adductor, abductor, then calves. Then if I'm doing a posterior focused leg day, it would be stiff leg. If I'm doing a quad focused leg day, it would be some sort of squat variant, which I did after this RDL because today was a posterior focused leg day. If that makes sense. I'm gonna be real with you guys, man. I was not feeling it today in terms of strength. I just hit a super heavy back day a couple days ago. I was doing some barbell rows, some shrugs, some rack pulls, and all that stuff, which is very posterior taxing, and I kind of scheduled these 2 days a little too close to each other, so I should have done a better job with that. This is a warm-up set for me, and I usually work up to about, I believe this is about 385. And as soon as I unracked it, I knew it wasn't going back up, so I didn't even get one rep of this. But you know, that happens sometimes, so I'm not mad at it. I still got a good leg day, good leg workout in, but wasn't as strong as I usually am. The crazy part is I usually don't have days where I don't have it. Like, usually every time I go into the gym, I have it just because of programming, because of recovery. But today, guys, I did not have it. I really didn't. When stuff like this happens, we get to decide what type of day we're going to have. Later on that day, I was going for a run. I knocked out 10.2 miles. So I still had a great day fitness-wise. But in terms of stiff leg deadlifts, even this right here, this is an amazing machine at West Coast. I believe it's called a Squat Station Pro. Wasn't going up. This was supposed to be just a warm-up set, then work up to 2 plates warm-up set, then 3, probably 3 1/4 for working sets, and it wasn't moving. It was not moving. So I stopped at 2. But if you guys look, I'm gonna have to adjust the thing for my feet, the padding for my feet, just be able to get the type of depth I want. So that's another tip I give. This first tip is focus on calves to really fill out the lower body frame. And the second would be range of motion. Now, range of motion is something when I talk to people, a lot of people, they don't have good range of motion because their mobility is bad. I don't believe range of motion is something that, you know, everybody's range of motion will be different, I should say. So I don't believe range of motion is something where everybody has to have the exact same range of motion. But once you understand your body, you can figure out what feels good for you. So for me, that's not really ass to grass, but it's pretty close. One thing I do a lot when I squat is I raise my heels. And when you do that, you kind of take the tension off of the quads and things of that nature. So I do my best not to do that. And if I go too low, I start doing that, and that's due to like a lack of ankle mobility, which could be worked on, but this is where I'm at right now. So if you guys notice, my range of motion is very strict. It's not a lot of leeway, and I'm doing this to protect my lower back. I'm doing this to make sure that my form stays consistent and that I'm focusing on my quads. So we did this right after stiff leg deadlifts or RDOs. Today was more like a RDL type because I was, you know, playing around with the form, trying to see what I like today. But we did this right after that, and it was moving well, I should say, but it just wasn't moving with weight. Like, I wasn't able to load this up like I usually did. I remember last time I was here, I loaded up to 3 plates and I could have went higher. So I came in with the mindset of going heavier. But like I said, y'all, I didn't have it today. Right after I did this, right now I'm adjusting the padding on it. But right after I did this, we jumped into some back extensions. And those are gonna be really good for your posterior too. Because I was able to tell my low back was taxed, I didn't go super heavy. I didn't do a whole bunch of sets, and I did a lot of body weight for back extensions. But having that strong posterior and the strong calf is what's gonna give us taller men and taller women too, if you're watching this. It's gonna give you guys that better look. And even something I mentioned on my story, it's not just tall people that struggle with filling out their legs. Like, even like average height people sometimes struggle with filling out your legs. I believe legs is something that you really have to be meticulous about, really working out in general. But legs is really important that you program correctly. It's a huge muscle group. And truthfully, it's not just one muscle group. And that's another thing that I'll talk about in the future on this channel. Sometimes we say stuff like, oh, I'm training legs, I'm training back. But there's so many muscles within the back, within the legs. You have to know what you're doing. You know, you could have a time where you say you train legs, and because you never, I know there's people who don't really train their posterior like this. They just focus on quads, or they do back, and they just, oh, I'm gonna train back. They just focus on lats so much that their upper back starts lacking because they're not paying attention to it. You know what I'm saying? So you really have to be meticulous about training in general, but specifically with a big body part like the legs. There's so many different muscles within the legs, and they all need specific training in order to bring them up. So again, I didn't record every set. I'm not running through reps and, you know, set schemes, rep schemes. I'm just showing you guys the way that the workout went. So right after we did the back extensions, we got into these burnouts. So for my burnouts, I'm not going super heavy. I'm focusing on getting a nice squeeze. As you guys can see, my calves are working pretty well. And I'm making sure I'm paying attention and I'm getting that mind-muscle connection. A lot of people think mind-muscle connection isn't a real thing, but if you know what it is, if you have it, I should say, then you know it is a real thing. Mind-muscle connection really comes with training. I've only been training 4 years. The way I'm able to feel my calves and my biceps and my chest, whatever I'm training with specific weights, is nothing like it'll be when I'm at year 10. And that just comes with time, and it comes with paying attention. You will not have good mind-muscle connection your first couple years of training because you really don't know what you're doing. And that's almost inevitable. Like, you could kind of work your way around certain things, but there's also a certain type of level that just comes with spending time in the gym and spending time training. So yeah, I did 2 sets of these to finish off my calves. And then right after this, I went to leg extensions. So because today is posterior focus, regardless if it's posterior focus or quad focus leg day, calves are always going to be trained first, right after the abductor and the adductor, and then calves will also be hit with burnouts at the end. So the only thing that would change is the order of quad focus leg workouts or leg exercises, and then posterior focus leg exercises like the back extensions, like the stiff leg or the RDLs, if I'm doing hamstring curls or hamstring extensions or whatever that may be. But everything else would stay the same. The beginning and the end would stay the same. One thing a lot of people get wrong when they have focused leg days or focused back days, those are usually the 2 muscle groups that get focused on. They forget that they still have to hit those other muscles. If not, then they're only hitting them once a week. So just because today's a posterior focused leg day, that doesn't mean I don't hit quads, because if that was the case, then quads would only be getting hit once a week, which isn't good. Or just because I'm having a thickness focused back day, it doesn't mean I don't hit my lats, because that means that I would only be hitting lats once a week. So things get very nuanced, guys. Like I mentioned in my last video, just going to the gym is cool. Being healthy is cool. Just making sure you're checking that off is cool. But if there's a look that you want and a certain level that you're trying to obtain in your fitness journey, it will take much more meticulous work and effort and programming and things like that. So I know it might seem like I'm doing too much, but I promise you I'm doing what's required, and that's all that matters to me. This was the picture I took. I'm not doing a whole bunch of crazy angles and lighting and stuff. This was just something I threw up on my story and tagged West Coast for a repost and just showing love to the facility. But yeah, that was the look, man. You guys can see I got a nice little quad pump. My legs are looking full. So it's really the calves that we're working on bringing up. So last but not least, man, we got some core. I hit core twice a week on my main training days. Usually it's some type of weighted cable crunch. I prefer this machine over getting a cable and getting on your knees, pause, to do a crunch, just because I'm not too familiar with that movement. I've been doing it right now at my local gym that I go to, because this is in my local gym. But if I could get to a gym like this where it's more stable and I have back support and stuff like that, then I'd rather just do this. So this is what I did today, or yesterday, I should say. So we did a couple sets of these, and then of course after we finished up with some lower abs, which is crucial because the lower abs, man, the lower abs are pretty hard to get. I mean, even when you get lean and stuff, getting them real crispy and nice and defined, like the top 2 or even the top 4, it's going to take a little bit more training, at least for me and my ab genetics. So working on getting those low abs. So after we did these for overall ab development, we got into some lower ab work with the Roman chip. Sometimes I'll do these weighted, but today I decided to just do these unweighted. Not these specifically, these I always do unweighted. But next I did a circuit where I was doing hanging knee to chest, knee raises. So those I usually do weighted, but these I did unweighted. So I'm just focusing on getting my legs as high as possible while also making sure I'm controlling the eccentric and then also the concentric, making sure I'm squeezing at the top. I did the circuit for, I think, 2 sets, maybe 3 sets. And my abs were on fire, so it was definitely some good work. I was so close to the ground right here that my feet kept touching the ground, but these felt good. And once I really learned how to train abs, I realized that you could really build some decent abs. You know, a lot of people talk about abs are made in the kitchen, but they're also a muscle that can be worked. And for a long time, I didn't really know how to train abs when I first started training, just because I didn't take them as seriously as like another muscle, like let's say like the shoulder or whatever. But that's not the case anymore. So yeah, that's the video, y'all. Thank y'all for checking out Random Branch Media. Little leg day, little core day. We'll be back with another video soon.